Hello and welcome to the UPC Arena here in Graz in Austria. It's the fourth pre-season friendly for Fabio Capello and his Real Madrid squad in what, as you can see, are absolutely atrocious conditions here up here in Austria. It's been pouring down with rain all day long. There's no sign of it letting up whatsoever. I'm sure you can already see the puddles just either side of your screen just at the moment. Really, the water very much starting to, well, waterlog the pitch, you have to say. It's Real Madrid against Reggina. As we said, it's the fourth pre-season friendly for Fabio Capello and his players. Probably not the best of conditions that he'd want to see his players and a workout against his fellow Italians, but as it is, we'll just take you through the teams. And first of all, we'll start, of course, with Fabio Capello's whites. Real Madrid start off with Iker Casillas in goal, and he's playing with a 4-3-3 formation. Raul Bravo once again starts at left back. In the middle of defence, it'll be Jonathan Woodgate and Sergio Ramos, with the experienced right back Michel Salgado on the other side of defence. In midfield, you'll have Guti as the main playmaker, and he'll be joined by the Uruguayan Pablo Garcia and Thomas Gravesen. Up front is where the big news is. Ruud van Nistelrooy makes his debut for Real Madrid. Obviously not a competitive match yet, but nonetheless, it's the first time that fans will be able to see the Dutch striker in action with the Whites since he moved from Manchester United just last week. He's been training with the rest of the squad, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing how he lines up with his other strike partners, which for today will be Antonio Cassano on the left and Raul on the right. Although one thing we have been seeing throughout this pre-season is really the movement that Fabio Capello likes to see with his front players, and so it'll be interesting to see exactly how Cassano and Raul really gel with Van Nistelrooy. As for Reggina, who are going to get this game up and running, they have Pelizzoso in goal, Esteves de Rosa and Aronica at the back, with Amarini, Lucarelli, Tedesco, Modesto and Mesto in midfield, with Amoruso and Bianchi up front. It's the fourth pre-season friendly for Fabio Capello's Real Madrid. He's still looking to really decide how he's looking to play things. As we said, it's a 4-3-3 formation, not something we're expecting really as we get this game underway. As we said, it's absolutely horrendous conditions. You can see everyone down by the touchline has got their umbrellas out, and as we just get Pablo Garcia's first touch, and we see it's going to be a very, very tricky game. The ball is hardly moving out there. I'm sure there are going to be some heavy tackles and a number of, well, sliding challenges. Ball just coming off the referee there as it's Thomas Gravesen who finds Guti, number 14. He spreads it wide to Michel Salgado, but really very much the start of the match has already seen what we'll come to expect from throughout the 90 minutes, which is going to be a very sloppy game, very untidy, as it's very difficult out there. As Reggina now come forward with Mesto, he's playing on the right, a very highly rated young player. He was an under-21 international for Italy, and very much a high hope for Reggina, who, just for those of you who perhaps don't follow Italian football so much, the middle of the table Serie A team, they finished 13th last season. Quite a young side, although they have got the experienced Nicola Amoruso up front, well-travelled striker. But nonetheless, a good test for Fabio Capello, whose side have already had 3 workouts here in Austria as the first stage of the pre-season comes to an end. It's been brought short by 2 days. Fabio Capello was saying, he decided very early on how well he feels that his players have been reacting to all the preparations that he and his backroom staff have had for his players. It's offside there for Mesto. So the Italian decided to bring short the stay in Austria by 2 days, meaning that we're now into day 18 of the pre-season up here we're in Graz now. We were for the most of the time up in Erdning, a very quiet village up in Austria, where the Real Madrid and the squad had a fantastic reception. It's going to be Amarini, the captain, to take this free kick. First spot kick for Reggina. The referee just making sure that Raul is the full 10 yards, which at the moment, according to the match official, he isn't. Amarini with the ball in. It's well out there, though, by Ruud van Nistelrooy. You see every single player back to defend for the Whites. It's chipped in, but it's Sergio Ramos who manages to come in to find that header, and it's just hoofed clear there by Raul Bravo, who's getting very untidy so far. He just saw Thomas Gravesen stood about 5 yards there. Really awful conditions as it's Raul with his first attack, really, it's Cassano, sorry, up the left wing, surrounded by Reggina players. And it just comes loose there from Thomas Gravesen. Lovely little chip forward there by Mesto, but it's gone out with Sergio Ramos, who's playing on the left side of the centre of defence with Jonathan Woodgate. So two players who, at their different times, have been spoken about having an enormous future. Sergio Ramos, obviously one of the most talked about centre-backs in Spanish football. Jonathan Woodgate, meanwhile, is back after 6 months out with injuries, as it was the English defender there with that clearing header. And he'll be looking to really make sure that he stays injury-free for this pre-season and see if he can feature in Fabio Capello's plans. Of course, there's still no Cannavaro, the Italian captain, will join up with the rest of his teammates this weekend, and then he will, of course, join the rest of the squad on the pre-season tour in the United States. Late challenge there from Thomas Gravesen, and it's going to be a free kick now for Reggina. Just 4 minutes on the clock, and it's a good position for the Italians. They'll be looking to make something of this. There you have Bianchi, the 23-year-old striker, being watched by Sergio Ramos. You can just see the puddles forming all across the pitch. It really is going to be, it's going to be interesting how this game develops and what kind of game we have from this. Certainly Fabio Capello will be concerned. He doesn't want any of his players injured, but it's going to be this free kick. Appeals for handball. It's come to the edge of the box. It's well cleared there by Pablo Garcia. And Real Madrid quickly out of the area, looking just to catch one of the Reggina forwards offside. A speculative effort there. And the first shot on goal after about 4 minutes here in Sturm Graz's home ground. You may have known it when it was the Arnold Schwarzenegger Stadium. It's since been renamed. There in your screens you've got Walter Mazzari, or Mazzari I should say. The Reggina manager, as Iker Casillas clears the ball forward. Pablo Garcia comes back. And you could just see there as the Reggina midfielder slid in, it was Ricardo Esteves actually, and you can just see the mark is left on the ground. Certainly the pitch is going to suffer, and hopefully none of the players will suffer any injuries. Out of the 31 players in Austria with Fabio Capello. Well, we'll have more of that later. Just striding forward with Salgado, and it was Antonio Cassano who just tried to clip it forward for Van Nistelrooy. It didn't come off. But out of the 31 players who are here in Austria with Fabio Capello, just one injury has been sustained so far, something that the Italians are very pleased about. That's to Alvaro Mejia, the young centre-back. He featured quite a lot in Fabio Capello's plans, as the Italian said he was very much likes the look of Mejia. He has a thigh strain and he will miss the tour to the United States. Is with Antonio Cassano, one of the players really of the pre-season so far. Van Nistelrooy, slight tug on the shirt there perhaps, but nothing given by the match official, and the ball just goes out on this far side. You just see here, clipped in by Antonio Cassano. Well, there's a hand on the Dutch striker's shoulders, but probably nothing too much in it, as Ivan Pelizzoli will clear this ball for Reggina. There's Jonathan Woodgate. He's very been commanding in at centre-back. He's started every single match with Fabio Capello. The Italian clearly likes the English defender in that position, and it's something really that, well, Fabio Capello is renowned for, isn't he? His defensive-minded teams, perhaps. Obviously, he's playing with three strikers today: Cassano, Van Nistelrooy, and Raul. But something we've seen him really try to bring into his players is the defensive positioning, the awareness, and to make sure that they don't concede any sloppy goals. It's something that the Italians really been emphasising throughout this pre-season in Austria, although in every single press conference he stressed that all of the games that we've had so far have just been training matches, really. He hasn't wanted too much from it. They've looked for different type of opponents. You remember the 10-2 drubbing of ATV Erding, that amateur side, the local amateur side from where Fabio Capello's squad were based. 4 goals from Antonio Cassano, a hat-trick from Julio Baptista, the two players who really stood out. We've also had 2 games against English sides, the first division or championship side, Plymouth. It was a Julio Baptista penalty that made the difference, and then just last week they played Premiership side Fulham, and that was a 0-0 draw. Again, quite a physical game, but again, you can just see the types of matches that Fabio Capello wants to test his players out in and see really how they respond. Good challenge there by Sergio Ramos with a 50-50 ball. He took it cleanly, and he brings it forward now with Guti. Just skips the challenge. And there's a player down here on the near side as Michel Salgado just clears the ball out to touch. It is Ricardo Esteves who's gone down. And we hope it's nothing too serious, but we're coming into just the 8th minute here in Graz. It's the first player who's gone down from that challenge. I think it was the one with Sergio Ramos. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It's the magic spray that's come out. Hopefully Ricardo Esteves will be up on his feet as soon as possible. So we're into the 9th minute here of the 4th pre-season friendly for Real Madrid in Austria, as the first stage of this pre-season preparation really gets underway. You'll be interested to know that 4 years ago Real Madrid played in this very stadium. That was against the local side, Sturm Graz. They won that game and they went on to win the league. Now Fabio Capello will be hoping that, I'm sure, history repeats itself in that aspect, as Esteves is going to leave the field to receive further attention, although from the looks of things, just as he's down here just below me, he should be able to carry on. The ball's returned then to Iker Casillas in goal, as Esteves does make his way back onto the pitch. That's with Raul Bravo on the near side, as he's just right in the middle of an enormous puddle down there on the left back position. It's hoofed forward though, and it comes nicely down to Pellizzoli. Forward to Mesto once again, very much the Reggina side looking to build their attacks through the right-hand sided midfielder. Again, a massive talent, as I said, he was an under-21 international, a very highly thought after player in Italy. A number of the big clubs have been after him. Indeed, Milan were after him back in 2004. They didn't get their way though, he's still at Reggina. Still very high prospect. Another player who's massive prospect in this is this man Antonio Cassano, who's really enjoying a new lease of life in this pre-season. Lovely through ball there for Raul. There's just a little bit too much on it there from Antonio Cassano, but nonetheless, the Real Madrid number 18 just showing what the reasons that he was brought to Real Madrid. Perhaps he didn't show that all his real quality last season, but he's looked in fine form so far. And yesterday we were speaking to a number of the Spanish journalists who've been covering this pre-season for Real Madrid, and they were all saying that if they had to pick one player who's really stood out in this first part of the pre-season, it is Antonio Cassano. One of the journalists even went so far as to say he looked like a new signing, the way that Fabio Capello has just brought the best out of him. He looks fitter, he looks really like he wants to prove a point to the Spanish public, certainly, and prove a number of his critics wrong. And so far he's certainly shown some flashes of brilliance in this pre-season. That's another Reggina attack. He looks to cut inside. Salgado just clips it in, and it's just gone wide of Iker Casillas' right-hand post. That was Nicolo Amoruso. Just see Michel Salgado let the winger Modesto get the better of him, but Amoruso couldn't direct that chance. And just shakes his head slightly. He too will be probably thinking he's coming into the twilight of his career. 32 years of age. He's played at Juventus. He played in Scotland. Played at a well-travelled player. And perhaps his striking partner Rolando Bianchi, the 23-year-old, will be looking to learn a thing or two from the experienced attacker. So it's another goal kick for Iker Casillas as the rain continues to fall down here in Graz. Really horrendous conditions. Around about 6,000 or 7,000 people have come here to watch the game. They've braved not just the conditions, but the traffic outside Graz. Spanish journalists who are here with us, with Real Madrid, were delayed by a good hour or so due to the roadworks that are exactly the same as back in Madrid. So some things are global. The ball's gone out then for Real Madrid throw-in on the far side. As you're watching it, it's going to be taken by Michel Salgado. Finds his Spanish and the international teammate and clubmate Raul. Here is Antonio Cassano just on the edge of the box, but he's well watched there by Amarini, and he just Loses possession though. It's back with Salgado. He clips it forward, looking for Van Nistelrooy. Perhaps a slight possibility of a foul there. Well, his throw's gone out. And I thought the final touch came from Van Nistelrooy, but nonetheless it's gone in the way of Real Madrid. And it will be the left-back Raul Bravo to get the ball back in motion. That's gone out. It's be a corner kick then for Real Madrid, their first corner of the match. And of course there's no David Beckham at the moment. We should be seeing the England international in the second half, along with the Brazilian stars from the World Cup who have yet to play their first match. It's going to be Antonio Cassano with the corner kick though, and it goes straight to the hands of Pellizotti. Comfortably taken there by the Italian keeper. And it's back with Reggina. Pablo Garcia is just tracking back, as is Thomas Gravesen, but Reggina's still got plenty of space, although it's well cut out there by Jonathan Woodgate. Well, doesn't manage to find a teammate of his. And here's Modesto, he's on the left-hand side, he's got a lot of space, he just comes inside again. Michel Salgado, who does well to track back though, and it flashed across the face of goal, but it's well saved there by Iker Casillas. In the end it was a shot. We were expecting a cross really from Modesto, but it was well taken by the Spanish keeper. Antonio Cassano just tussling there with Aronica. You see the replay of the shot there, just obviously these conditions horrendous for the keeper. It's the kind of game when the coach goes out and says just keep having shots, pot shots at goal, because they're so difficult for goalkeepers to get their hands on. You can just see again the conditions there. Jonathan Woodgate could hardly stop himself sliding as he went in for that challenge. It's nicely knocked on there by Raul. And Cassano plays the 1-2, but it's well read there by the Reggina goalkeeper. He just came off his line quickly enough to stop Raul. We've just seen Antonio Cassano now. He's moved out to the right wing. Van Nistelrooy makes a good run. He looks for Raul. It is Raul. He just leaves it for Bravo. It's Raul. That's the first goal of the match. It's a lovely move there. Guti joined up with Raul. It's his first goal of the pre-season for the Real Madrid number 7. So much speculation, so much talk about him, but in the end, his face says it all. It's the first goal here in Graz. 15 minutes on the clock, and it's club captain Raul who gets it. Lovely, just pulled back there by Guti, and there was no one marking Raul, and he did what he knows to do best, and that's slot it in the back of the net. Well, the cameraman here in Austria is just showing Antonio Cassano because he was instrumental in the build-up to that goal. But it's taken then just 15 minutes, really the first attack of the game for Real Madrid, but as you expect of players this kind of quality, that clinical finishing, I'm sure that a good pre-season is exactly what Raul is after. As you said, the players, they featured in the match against Fulham. It was quite a physical game, that friendly just last Wednesday. Not too many chances on goal, and it did indeed end 0-0, although it was a good workout. Fitness-wise, it was an important part of the pre-season preparation. It's Raul once again. He just takes the advantage of the treacherous conditions here. There's a foot in there by Aronica. He does just enough to win the ball, but Guti does well to get it back. And Bianchi's offside. Was through on goal. Sergio Ramos was just a couple of yards behind him, but the Italian striker was definitely a good yard or so offside in that instance. Pushed forward there by Raul Bravo. Something certainly the Spanish journalists have been reminding me throughout this stay here in Austria, that it's very much English tactics, that kind of pass. Something that Ruud van Nistelrooy will know very well. The prolific Dutch striker. Then a very talked about move. The third summer signing for Real Madrid after Cannavaro joined. Emerson was then the following player to be presented. We'll probably see the Brazilian midfielder feature in the second half, but then it was Van Nistelrooy. It took a little bit longer really for the club to finalise that deal, as Manchester held out for more cash, and lovely skills there by Raul Bravo, although in the end just the conditions get the better of him and the ball goes out. But again, a very high profile signing for Ruud van Nistelrooy. He hasn't had too many touches so far, certainly not the conditions he'd have asked for to make his Real Madrid debut. but he's the kind of striker that Fabio Capello said he wants to really head up his attacking formation. The kind of out-and-out centre forward, the target man, if you like. He's good in the air, he's very skillful as well. He's one of the all-time record goal scorers in the Champions League, and that's certainly something that he'll be hoping to add to, along with RAUL as the club, of course, in the next season looking for 3 trophies, the King's Cup, the League and the Champions League. Although at the moment, obviously those are still very much in the future, as concentration is still very much on the preparation for the beginning of the La Liga season, which will be in the last weekend of August, just 3 weeks away. Guti comes in, he tries to win the ball off Bianchi, who was looking for a foul, although it certainly didn't look like it. Players are sliding around all over the pitch. I'm not sure how happy the groundsmen here at the UPC Arena are going to be after this game. You can already see the damage being done by some of these sliding tackles. Even the studs aren't enough for players to keep their feet. Van Nistelrooy just wins that header but can't control it, can't find any of his teammates. You see Cassano there just chasing down. Another aspect of what Fabio Capello's been looking for from his players, and that's pressuring high up the pitch and making sure that the opponents have no time on the ball, and that's something that Cassano really has really taken to heart. His work rate's been absolutely fantastic, certainly so far. He'll be hoping that he doesn't pick up any injuries. There was a slight scare in the last match against Fulham when a horrendous challenge from Papa Diop, the Fulham midfielder, and Antonio Cassano injured his left shin. It certainly looked a lot worse than it was, though. He was back running the following day, very lightly albeit, and he was back training with the rest of the squad the day after. And as you can see, he's certainly showing no signs of any niggling injury, as there was just a foul there on Raul Bravo, which Guti's come back to take. 20 minutes on the clock, Real Madrid 1, Reggina 0. It was Raul after 15 minutes, after a lovely assist there from Guti. That goal just the only difference between the sides so far. Iker Casillas hasn't really been tested, as it's Van Nistelrooy on the edge of the box just fighting for the ball, but in the end it comes away with Reggina. Strong there by Amoruso, and well, there's just very much, if anything's indicative of the conditions here and how it's really conditioning the game. That was it. There was a through ball there. Bianchi would have been through on goal, but the ball just completely stopped in the pitch, which is now, I think it's safe to say, completely waterlogged. And as it was, that Reggina attack was foiled not by the qualities of the Real Madrid defence, but more by the adverse conditions, which you can still see on your screens. When you get close-ups of the players, you can see how heavily the rain is falling here. That's going to be Iker Casillas just to clear the ball from the goal kick. Van Nistelrooy drops off to try and win this header. He can't do so. Amorini, the captain, spreads it wide to Mesto. He looks to put it back, and Thomas Gravesen there, fighting hard. And he's just chasing down Mesto, although Mesto gets the better of the Danish international. And it's back with Aronica, who spreads it wide to De Rosa. And it's very much Route 1 football there by Reggina, and it went all the way through to Bianchi, who looked to go down in the challenge with Iker Casillas. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. And Bianchi certainly looked to take a dive. I think he knew exactly what he was doing there. Iker Casillas came striding off his line. There was certainly no contact. The Italian centre forward knocked it forward. It went out of play. It's going to be another goal kick then to be taken by Iker Casillas. We're just in the halfway stage now of this first half of the 4th pre-season friendly for Real Madrid, in this pre-season preparation with Fabio Capello at the helm. You're watching it live on Real Madrid television. It's 1-0 to the Whites, and there's one man who's looking to make it 2-0, and that's Ruud van Nistelrooy, the Dutch striker, making his debut today. But it's with Amorini, the captain. He plays it back to Lucarelli. Here's Modesto. Cuts it outside to Bianchi. There's a bit of space, but he's forced to go all the way back to Lucarelli once again, as the left-footed midfielder just looks to find Mesto, but Guti cuts it out well. And it comes all the way back for a throw-in on the far side of the pitch. It's with De Rosa, who is centre-back. It's back with De Rosa, the player who moved to Reggina from Bari. Of course, the club where Antonio Cassano started his career before he moved to the Italian capital, Roma, where it is, of course, where he started that relationship with Fabio Capello, which, in the admission of the Italian striker himself, is very much a father-son relationship. Fabio Capello was the manager who managed to bring out the most from Antonio Cassano, and it's something that certainly the Italians will be hoping to do once again, and to repeat once again, this time in the Spanish capital with Real Madrid in this coming season, the 2006-2007 season. Sergio Ramos hoofs it forward, looking for Ruud van Nistelrooy, but it's again cut out by Lucarelli. With Thomas Gravesen now, he finds Van Nistelrooy, clips it into the near post. He was looking for Cassano, and Raul does well to bring it back to the Dutch striker. The Dutch striker goes for goal. It's come to Guti. Lovely little chip from Guti, surely a handball there, and Guti is absolutely furious, quite rightly so. It was a clear handball there by the Reggina defender, as just a lovely drop of the shoulder there by Guti, and I'm fairly sure that if De Rossi hadn't got his hand in the way there, that would have been 2-0. As it is, it's gone out for a corner. Second of the game for Real Madrid. Van Nistelrooy looking to get on the end of it. It's deep into the far post, and in the end it's cleared easily there by Reggina. And it's going to be a Real Madrid throw-in on this near side. Antonio Cassano is going to take. It's got Guti near, and it has gone to the midfielder. He's forced to go all the way back, though, to Jonathan Woodgate. Salgado finds Raul. First time ball there by the Spanish captain. But in the end, he can't control it too well, and it's once again with the Italian side, Reggina. As the conditions here still very much getting in the way of really watching a decent game of football. Both sides obviously want a good workout. For Reggina, it's a perfect opportunity to line up against one of the biggest clubs in the world. Certainly important for their preparations as they look forward to the next season in Serie A, which of course is still very much reeling from the consequences of the court rulings which relegated Juventus to the Serie B, and which took away the championship from well, it looked like Milan were going to be out of the Champions League. In the end, they've just been reinstated. Just yesterday that happened. But obviously it's certainly changed the outlook of Italian football. Salgado scampers back to clear this ball, but he only does it as far as Lucarelli. Comes back to De Rosa, who finds Modesto. He's supported by Tedesco. And in the end, Salgado's excellent to find Thomas Gravesen. Nice little delicate chip there by Salgado. Cassano's away on the near side if the Danish midfielder can find him. He goes to Raul Bravo instead. Now it is with Cassano. He's got Guti up in front of him. And he does well there. Good strength there by Antonio Cassano, just shielding the ball. But it's well in by Lucarelli, and Tedesco gets the better of Michel Salgado. He finds Mesto, who looks to find Bianchi once again. But the attack is drawn short. In the end, the ball comes back to Real Madrid, who get a free kick. Van Nistelrooy. He's got Raul out wide. He loves to cut in from that area. It's going to be Raul with a shot. Oh, it's a lovely shot, and I think a number of the fans here at the UPC Arena thought that was the second goal. It just went wide and just came into the side netting. But it was a good strike there from Raul. We're just coming up to the half an hour mark here in Graz. Really, that along with the goal and the shot from Guti, which should have been a penalty just a few moments ago. Really the only attack so far from the Whites. Real Madrid still very much experimenting with tactics. Fabio Capello's been shy, been holding his cards close to his chest in press conferences when he's been quizzed by the journalists about what kind of tactics, what kind of formation we can expect to see next season. Certainly this morning in training he practiced two formations. The one you can see today at the moment for this first half certainly, which is the 4-3-3. And then after that he tried out a 4-2-3-1, which I'm sure we'll see later on some stage in the second half, as we'll be looking to get the players a workout. Surely handball there in the area by Sergio Ramos. You just get the feeling that perhaps the referee is somewhat trying to level the balance after that. Well, not giving the penalty that perhaps Guti could have been given. And it's going to be a set piece then. Just a free kick there to be taken by Guti. He's of course the second captain. Lovely turn there by Cassano once again. Just so skillful on the ball. And he just clipped it back, and he was looking for the run of Ruud van Nistelrooy. Unlucky there, they didn't have the communication. Just mentioning though, Guti there as the second captain. Of course, you all know that the third captain is the Brazilian left back Roberto Carlos, and there's been great news yesterday when he decided that after meeting with Pejar Mijatovic, the sporting director, the Brazilian left back said that he would commit to the rest of, well, certainly for the coming season, to be at the club, after there was so much speculation that perhaps he would be leaving. But he's decided in the end that he wants to stay. He still wants to win trophies with Real Madrid. So you just see a replay of the foul there on Guti. Nothing too much in it, nothing too malicious, but it's going to be Raul Bravo then to take the free kick. You just see Guti there, a player who of course came up through the youth system. He's played for every single level for Real Madrid. He's won every single trophy there is to win with Real Madrid. The Champions League, the League, the Super Cup, you name it, he's won it. And he certainly shows that when he plays every single time for Real Madrid. Great control there by Cassano. Raul's free on the post if he can find him. Instead, Guti goes wide to Van Nistelrooy, who's down on the near side. He's followed by two Reggina defenders. Van Nistelrooy still got the ball. He looks to find Thomas Gravesen on the far post. And in the end, the Danish midfielder just couldn't really direct it. He did well to come up from midfield, completely unmarked on the far post. Nicely played though by Ruud van Nistelrooy. He did well to, again, just to hold the ball up. Something that Fabio Capello will certainly want from the striker. And though it may seem incredible, we've gone half an hour on Real Madrid television without mentioning Ronaldo, the Brazilian striker's back, recovering from his injury that he's picked up after the World Cup. But he's back in Madrid, he's back training, and just looking to get fit now for the rest of the season, and looking to join them on the pre-season tour of the States. It's Cassano again going through for Van Nistelrooy, and Ruud van Nistelrooy was all one-on-one, and in the end just couldn't hook it over the keeper, who came out and just made it just a little bit difficult for the striker to find the net. So here, perhaps it was just that final touch from De Rosa, just did enough to make it difficult. But first real opportunity for Ruud van Nistelrooy then in a white shirt. Good header there by Sergio Ramos, but only goes as far as the Reggina midfielder. Tedesco, he goes back to Lucarelli. Again, long ball tactics there. It's clipped on by Amoruso. And Bianchi's offside. In the end, it was safely headed back by Jonathan Woodgate, but the Reggina number 9, who you just have in your screens now, Rolando Bianchi, was offside. And it'll be interesting to see what exactly Walter Mazzari is looking to take from this match. He's got a very mixed bag in terms of the players he used last season. Some of the players only made one substitute appearance, others were ever present throughout their campaign that saw them finish 13th in the Serie A. Very much a new look Reggina side. A number of signings the close season of 2005, and still trying to really gel together. As it's Guti to take this free kick. We've got just over 10 minutes to go in this first half. Still Real Madrid 1, Reggina 0. And the ball's just bobbled up there, and it was for Sergio Ramos who tried to get on the end of that, but in the end the Italian keeper Perezzoli did just enough to gather the ball. You just see there, he tried to punch it out, didn't get much distance on it, but he reacted quickly enough. It's back now with Reggina on the attack, and Thomas Gravesen comes back and he's conceded a foul, and that was on Tedesco, the 30-year-old midfielder, and it's a good position now for Reggina, who's still trailing to that RAUL goal. And you have Mesto over the ball as well as Tedesco. Number of players in the box as Jonathan Woodgate and Sergio Ramos are looking to organise the defence, something that Fabio Capello is very keen on making sure that their players get right from the very start. It's whipped in, he's looking for the near post, and then it's come away, and it's just come off 3 headers so far, and Van Nistelrooy does excellently now to come clear. It's with Antonio Cassano. He's really fighting against the conditions. He's trying to dribble forward, does well. Surely a foul there from Aronica. Again, it's just such a shame that the conditions are as they are, really, because they're a real chance to see Real Madrid on the counter-attack. Antonio Cassano certainly has been showing real signs of pace in this pre-season. You get the feeling that if he hadn't had to be fighting against the puddles on that counter-attack, then he probably could have set something up with Van Nistelrooy. As it is, though, it's going to be a free kick for the Whites. Guti standing over the ball as ever. I'm sure that in the second half we'll see David Beckham, and I'm sure he'll pull rank and make sure that he's in charge of the set pieces. It's also got Sergio Ramos over it, and perhaps the centre-back from fancies a chance on goal. It's exactly what he does. It just bobbles clear, and unfortunately couldn't fall to any of the Real Madrid players. Back with Tedesco, linking well with Modesto. Thomas Gravesen does well, just gets the foot in there. It's a good challenge there. It's with RAUL now, who's dropped slightly deeper. He looks to bring it forward, and it's with now Guti for Cassano. Lovely little chip there. They're getting great skill, and he does well. It was a poor clearance by De Rosa, but it's well chased down there by Antonio Cassano. He's got Raul Bravo just behind him. He finds the left back. He's watched by Mesto. It's going to be clipped in by Raul Bravo. He looks to beat the keeper, actually, but in the end it was a comfortable take for the 25-year-old Italian keeper. And you have Fabio Capello on your screens. Very pensive at the moment, the Italian coach. And he's been taking very much an observer's role in this pre-season, obviously working closely with his backroom staff, but just watching, observing, deciding which of the players that he'll take into the USA with his 24-25 man squad, which looks like being the first team squad for next season, along with any possible signings. There have been lots of names being bounded about the press. Jose Antonio Reyes of Arsenal, the latest player to be heavily linked with the club. But for now, just 3 signings, and you've got one of them on the pitch at the moment, Ruud van Nistelrooy. We'll get to see another one, I'm sure, in the second half. That's the Brazilian holding midfielder, Emerson. But we'll have to wait certainly a couple of weeks to see Cannavaro in action. We were speaking to Massimo Neri, the fitness coach, just a couple of days ago, and the Italian was saying that in the United States, every single player in the squad will be training at exactly the same pace, doing exactly the same, apart from Cannavaro, who of course is still on holidays after his fabulous World Cup. Of course, he captained his national side to glory. Foul there by Raul Bravo on the near side here. 7 minutes to go till the half-time. It's with Tedesco. Wants to find Amoruso. And he comes in and is well out there by Iker Casillas. He had to react quickly. It's still in play, though. And Raul Bravo just enough. And incredibly manages to win the goal kick. Mesto certainly isn't happy with that decision. He thought he was He should have had the corner. There you see the challenge there from Iker Casillas. He just came off his line quickly, and it bounced out, and in the end it went out for a goal kick, much to the relief of Iker Casillas and Raul Bravo. It's back with De Rosa. Looks to find Amorini. There's a foul there by Thomas Gravesen. And Pablo, and it's going to be Guti. He's going to be the first player to go on the referee's little black book after 39 minutes or so. Jose Maria Gutierrez Guti has shown the yellow card, something he sees the funny side of. Again, I'm sure nothing too serious there. Seeing these kind of friendlies, you always hope there's a certain spirit to be played, and that none of the players going for too many heavy challenges, but nonetheless the referees like to keep order. That's exactly what the man in the middle has been doing. Eisner Rennie, the match referee today. Clipped on there by it was by Tedesco, but in the end it was sliced clear by Sergio Ramos. It could have gone anywhere. For a moment it looked like it was going in the goal, but it went out. It's Reggina's first corner of this pre-season friendly match, that Real Madrid still lead 1-0 with 5 minutes to go in the first half. You're watching this match live on Real Madrid television. Is whipped in to the near post, but Guti clears it only as far as Tedesco. It's anyone's ball, but it's offside in fact, but it was the first man to react was Iker Casillas. Again, the ball just completely stopped there in the puddle just around the penalty area. The Spanish number one did just enough to come out quickly. I think even if the Italian strikers had been onside, then they wouldn't have been able to get to it. Now the rain's still falling, although in the distance the skies are slowly clearing, so perhaps in the second half we'll have a slightly better conditions for this match, but nonetheless I think the damage has been done. The pitch is still puddled all over, making it very difficult for either side really to build up moves, although certainly in terms of fitness this is perfect for Fabio Capello. These kind of conditions demand so much more from the players. Great skill there by Raul, by Cassano, who links up with Raul, and again nice 1-2 there between the two. Late challenge there, and it was by Amorini, the Reggina captain, on Antonio Cassano, his compatriot. Just a late challenge there. As we said, obviously these kind of conditions very much in terms of fitness asks a lot more of the players when you have to play in these kind of conditions, and so in that respect then perhaps not too bad. Just some excitement here on the near side as Emerson, David Beckham, Robinho, Cicinho and a number of the other substitutes are out warming up, as it's going to be a free kick with Guti, and here's Guti onto the far post, and it's with Van Nistelrooy. So unlucky. It was actually Jonathan Woodgate in the end. Still hasn't cleared. All the fans applauding, I think, more David Beckham's appearance than the football, something we've already seen in this pre-season a number of times. The match is still underway though. As with Guti, he takes on the Reggina number 16 well, but it just gets too much on it. And we do have now down on this near touchline all the Real Madrid substitutes warming up, much to the excitement of the local fans who've come here. It's a great opportunity for them to see the stars from Real Madrid, as you just saw a glimpse of it there, Paco Pavon and Diego Lopez. There's something of a set two though in the middle. Thomas Gravesen is at the centre of it, which perhaps is no surprise. He's the second player to be shown a yellow card. Again, ugly scenes really at on the Real Madrid training pitch just a couple of days ago between Thomas Gravesen and Robinho. Both players were sent off by Fabio Capello, who said they won't take any further part in the training session. Again, something that's characterised the training sessions in this training camp in Austria so far is very much the intensity that Fabio Capello's demanded from his players. And after 2.5 weeks together, it just boiled over slightly. And it's not just the players. I think that for the journalists as well, it's been a long couple of weeks. Although, fortunately, between none of us, it's boiled over into too many punches. Back with the football. It's back with Reggina. They puts it wide to Mesto. And Omaruso comes deep for it, but he can't control it, and it's going to be Raul Bravo to take the throw in. And it's play on, but I think both Ruud van Nistelrooy and Aronica thought that should have been a free kick, but it wasn't. Raul's back on the left side now, and this time it is a foul on the Spanish number 7. Just making sure that the Italian player makes his way forward before he puts the ball down for the set piece. Just a few minutes to go then in this first half of this pre-season friendly. Real Madrid against Reggina, 1-0 still to the Whites. Raul's goal after 15 minutes, the only goal so far, the goal that separates the two sides. Guti had a good chance on goal, and what could have been a penalty when De Rosa clearly handled it, although perhaps the amount of intent is to be questioned. Gravesen had a good header, a good chance for a header, but it just went over the bar after Van Nistelrooy did excellently on the near side. It comes forward, Raul still looking to skips past the challenge there by the Reggina captain. Still Raul with Guti. He's got Michel Salgado up on the right hand side, but Guti looks to cut it inside for Van Nistelrooy. It doesn't come off. It's back with Amorini, the Reggina captain, who in turn looks for the counter attack, and Bianchi gets the better of Jonathan Woodgate, and it has been a foul awarded to Tebesco. It was the midfielder running from deep, and just Jonathan Woodgate just did enough to get in the way. Mesto, clever little ball in just to himself there, and that beat the attack challenge from Antonio Cassano. And Guti's down injured, and we're hoping that it's nothing too serious. You just see him there clutching his hand. All the players absolutely filthy after 45 minutes in these conditions. You see there, it was a challenge with Amorini, I should say. The team physios are on the pitch. As for a number of the players, it just means a quick moment for a rest. The rain has slightly eased off, although it's still coming down here in the UPC Arena in Graz for this fourth pre-season friendly for Real Madrid. And still leading 1-0. The stretcher boys are down on the near side. Just wait and see if Guti needs to be helped off, although it looks like he's going to make his way off the pitch. Antonio Cassano just showing off his skills on the near side in the meanwhile, as he looks to take the throw in. Guti just very slowly making his way off. He's not too happy about that challenge, but that's it. The referee blows up for the final whistle for half-time. As we said, as it stands, it's Real Madrid 1, Reggina 0 in this fourth pre-season friendly. Be back with us in 15 minutes for the second half. Hello and welcome back to the UPC Arena here in Graz in Austria. You're watching Real Madrid Television live. We've got this fourth pre-season friendly for the club live here on the channel. Real Madrid are currently beating Italian side Reggina by a goal to nil. That came after 15 minutes from who else but club captain Raul. A lovely move, started off by Antonio Cassano, and then it was Guti who cut the ball back for Raul to slot home from about 10 yards and get his first goal of the pre-season. You've just got in your screens the Reggina captain Amorini as the new look Real Madrid side come out. I say new look because there's a new player in every single position, as Fabio Capello has run the changes here at the UPC Arena for this friendly match against his compatriots Reggina. They have one of the changes, Robinho, and all eyes really in the second half are going to be on that man Emerson. Although judging by the crowd's reaction to David Beckham coming out of the tunnel, perhaps there'll be another man who'll be stealing a bit of that attention. But nonetheless, for the Real Madrid number 27, Emerson, it's his first start, his first game for Real Madrid since he joined the club. He was unveiled just a couple of weeks ago, and he's been training here in this pre-season training camp in Erning for the last week or so, and he makes his first appearance now for Real Madrid, who line up as follows. Diego Lopez has come in goal. At the back, it lines up with Roberto Carlos, Pavon, Helguera and Cicinho. In the midfield, Emerson and Ruben de la Red. David Beckham, Baptista and Robinho make up the three-man attacking formation from right to left, and it's Javier Portillo who will be the striker. Again, all changed for Real Madrid. Javier Portillo just having a quick word with Fabio Capello. You can see that at the bottom of the screen. And it's going to be a slightly different formation than that the Italians using in this second half. We saw a 4-3-3 in the first period of time as the match referee gets the second half underway. As I was saying, 4-3-3 in the first half, but now it's a 4-2-3-1. Portillo really probably going to be the out-and-out striker, closely linking up though with Julio Baptista. Robinho out on the left, David Beckham on the right, adding width to the side where the real ball winners will be Ruben de la Red, the Castilla player who's still looking to prove himself and to prove that he can certainly add something to the Real Madrid squad, the first team squad indeed, next season. He'll be alongside the vastly experienced Brazilian midfielder Emerson. He's won the World Cup, he's won the Italian Scudetto various times. He's worked with Fabio Capello for the last 5 years now, both at Roma and at Juventus, and now he's looking to continue that football relationship at Real Madrid. Cicinho gets his first touch of the pre-season, trying to chip it forward for Portillo, but it doesn't come off, and it's Amarini who brings it forward. The Italians, just looking around, have only made one substitution, and that's Andrea Campagnolo in goal. He's replaced the 25-year-old Ivan Pellizzoli. And a foul there, given by Ruben de la Red. Amarini to take. And it's going to be another foul there by Emerson. See those two defensive midfielders, very much the ball winners for Fabio Capello's side when they play this kind of formation. Really, Emerson doubles up as a third centre-back. And again, in this second half, he's playing just in front of Paco Pavon and Ivan Helguera, the two Spanish centre-backs. You see Ivan Helguera there just watching his man, Amoruso. And it's going to be Leon, another substitute for Reggina, who looks set to take this set piece about 30-35 yards out. It is Leon, fancies a strike from here, he goes for goal. It's not a bad strike indeed, as Diego Lopez does well. Just first of all to parry it, then he gets up quickly to take that shot, and it's out to Roberto Carlos on the left-hand side now. The Brazilian, we were saying in the first half, has signed a new, well, he's decided to stay at the club after all the speculation, perhaps linking with other clubs. Perhaps he was going to leave. In the end, he's decided to stay on for certainly this season, and I think they'll renew talks part of the way through the next season. But certainly Roberto Carlos is very much admired by Fabio Capello, who said in the press conference just a couple of days ago that you cannot find a left back of the same quality of Roberto Carlos in the world. And it's a massive boost then for the club to be able to count on the Brazilian next season. David Beckham just touched it back to Emerson, who finds his teammate and national teammate Baptista. You'll remember that Baptista has been recalled by the new Brazilian manager Dunga for a friendly in just a couple of weeks' time. Paco Pavon there. As Tedesco goes down, he claims it was a foul. It's gone all the way over for Portillo, and it just comes a bit far for the young striker. He was in Belgium on loan last season. Again, another player who's tried to prove a thing or two to Fabio Capello, although you have to say he had some good opportunities in the pre-season friendlies, and his finishing hasn't looked perhaps as tight as it could be. Nonetheless, another chance then for the young striker, another player to come out from the youth team here at Real Madrid. He spent a couple of seasons away on loan now, as he hasn't been able to force his way into the first team squad. He's still gained first team experience away from the club though, but once again, just looking to make the most of these pre-season friendlies, see if he can sway Fabio Capello's mind. It's with Robinho, touches it back to Baptista, who finds Roberto Carlos, and it's all the way back now to the centre-backs, to another Brazilian, Cicinho. A very Brazilian feel to this Real Madrid side from the second half. Screams going around the UPC arena. David Beckham gets the ball, and it's Aronica who's slightly making hard work for himself. Flicked on there by Bianchi. Nice touch there by Emerson. A player who's come to the club, and all the talk has been about Emerson replacing that Makelele role for Real Madrid. The Makelele joined Chelsea a few years ago, and the club have never really replaced him in terms of a defensive midfielder, although Fabio Capello was keen to stress that Emerson provides really more than Makelele does in terms of the fact that he's not just a fantastic defensive player, but he also contributes 5 or 6 goals a season. It's something so important from the team, certainly when they're challenging for three trophies. Roberto Carlos with one of his trademarks, long distance shot. It's going to be Robinho who latches onto the end of it, puts it all the way back for David Beckham. Perfect position to cross. And in the end it's Tedesco who does just enough to get in the way, and it's going to go out. It's gone out for a throw-in. Cecinho comes across to take that on the near side. Five minutes gone in the first half. It's still Real Madrid 1, Reggina 0. You're watching it live on Real Madrid television. The 4th pre-season friendly for Fabio Capello in Austria. No sooner does this game finish, the players, well, they get dressed, they're off to the airport, and it's back to the Spanish capital for a couple of days rest. And then they're off to Seattle and Salt Lake City for another week's training. They've got 2 more friendly matches there. Of course, Real Madrid television will be following the team throughout that week over in the States. You can get all the latest, all the exclusive interviews here on the channel, just like we've been doing from evening the pre-season training camp in Austria, where we've been for 18 days now. There's a chip there by Portillo, and the substitute keeper Campagnolo was off his line. It was a nice idea there by Javier Portillo. In the end, he couldn't quite direct it enough, and it's gone over harmlessly over the bar for a goal kick to the Italians. You'll be pleased to know that certainly the fans here at the UPC Stadium will be pleased that the rain has somewhat stopped, as it's an attack here with Leon. Looks to take on Paco Pavoni, does excellent, Leon, and looks to hook it back. It was in the end a fantastic save by Diego Lopez. He did just enough, caused enough problems for Leon. And the Reggina number 8 just looks to clip it in. Piondini. It's with Roberto Carlos. Good attack there for Reggina. Beckham links up with Cecinho. That partnership really flourished just after December. After the arrival of Cecinho, he joined up with the club along with Antonio Cassano in that winter break, and really caused, well, certainly there was a lot of competition for the starting place at right back. As with Robinho, he loves to cut inside from the left hand wing, and he does just enough then to win a corner. He was looking to cut it across for Javier Portillo. Again, he's a tricky player, Robinho. He loves to take on players, loves to have the ball at his feet. Very much a flair player. And at the moment, being employed by Fabio Capello out on the left wing. Reggina looking to make some changes. You can see their substitutes warming up. We'll have more on that in a moment. Just as David Beckham looks to recover the ball, it was up in the crowd, and they were, I think, all of them wanting to get a touch on it. Fabio Capello is absolutely furious that they haven't got the game underway. It's floated into the far post to Ruben de la Red with a dramatic shot, but in the end it couldn't direct it. Again, very technically a very difficult type of shot to connect with and to put on target. He's only got the connection, Ruben de la Red, but just couldn't quite direct it enough. Campagnoli then the substitute keeper, who'll be looking to find Bianchi or Amoruso up front. Here's Leon, who's playing really as a attacking midfielder, almost as a third striker for Reggina. In this second half, where the weather has very much improved. There's no rain now at the UPC Arena, although we were saying earlier, the pitch has really been cut up by the challenges and by the first 45 minutes of play when it was still pouring down. Surely offside there by Bianchi, and then has indeed been given offside by the linesman. And we're just going to get the first changes now, as Mazzari is going to bring on Giosa, Canassa, and also Carobio. Be interesting to see which players he decides to change for them as Emerson comes forward with the ball. He's got Portillo out on the right. Emerson, lovely little nutmeg there by the Brazilian. He's got Baptista to find. Ruben de la Red puts it across for Robinho, who's come deep. He's of course linking up with Roberto Carlos, who's always keen to come up that left-hand wing and support an attack. A left back who always scores at least 5 or 6 goals a season. It's with David Beckham. It's Beckham on the edge of the box. He looks to find Julio Baptista. Just couldn't quite get enough on it, and in the end it's cleared by Modesto, and it's a free kick there from Cicinho. And we're going to get these these changes now from Reggina. As Leon there wasn't too happy with that challenge from Cicinho, but nonetheless nothing, the free kick given, and so Amorini leaves, as does Modesto. And Mesto. So again a new look for Reggina. They have Giosa at the back, comes on for De Rosa. Carobio and Canassa, the other two players to come on. It's back in play with Roberto Carlos. Pavon closely watched there by Leon. David Beckham looks to find Javier Portillo, who's again challenging for that ball. It's gone out for a Real Madrid throw-in, which Cicinho will take. Reggina looked to have moved to a more 4-3-3 formation. Earlier on they were playing 3-5-2. Julio Baptista there challenging Lanzaro, who's come on as well, and playing at the back. Slightly bizarre number of 55. Nonetheless, it's gone out for a corner kick, and that's a throw-in, which will be taken by David Beckham. Although he's decided that perhaps Cicinho is best to take that. Robinho looking to create some space, so trying at the end of it, and in the end it's headed out there by Carobio, the player who's just come on for another corner for Real Madrid. It's the second of the second half, and who else but David Beckham to take it. Fabio Capello again working on his tactics. It's a different style of play that he'll be looking for from his team this half. Clipped in there by David Beckham. There's Pavon who won the header. It's back for the English midfielder. It's another good cross in. It's well headed there by the Reggina defence, but it's again with David Beckham. Tries to find Pavon, who is on the edge of the box, and it's well worked out now by Reggina with Leon. Crunching challenge there by Pavon. It's with Carobio. Baptista though finds Portillo. We look to return the favour. In the end, it's very scrappy in this second half. Pitch with so much water on it, very difficult for the players to find their teammates with good slick passing. Certainly having to work very hard to win the ball. And indeed, Portillo's won another corner for Real Madrid. Coming up to the 15-minute mark then in this second half, it's still 1-0 to Real Madrid. That RAUL goal after 15 minutes in the first half. Almost an hour gone then here at the UPC Arena in Graz. Real Madrid still leading this friendly. It was a hastily arranged friendly with Reggina, when Fabio Capello said that he didn't want to fulfill the full 20 days of this pre-season that was going to be. Instead, he wanted one more pre-season friendly, and then he'd give the players 2 days off in Madrid, which is exactly what he's done. As it was, they quickly found a team that was also training here in Austria. Reggina were one of those sides. A number of other sides are also training here. Lazio are here. The Roma are going to Erdning in just a week's time. Fabio Capello used to train there when he was the manager of Roma. The Italian clearly likes this place as it's the ideal conditions for a pre-season. A foul there by Cicinho on Leon. It's going to be Canassa to take the free kick. So Leon looks to find Bianchi, does well, Bianchi, but in the end it's defending there by Pavon, and Helguera joins in as well. Here's Portillo, lovely touch in the end. He does well to put it to David Beckham. Players still sliding all over the field here. It's very difficult to control as we're into the hour mark. And even Helguera just heads it to Emerson, and that's exactly the job that the Brazilian has been brought in to do, to receive the ball from the centre-backs, to distribute it, to make himself available, to change the pace of the play, to change the direction or which side of the pitch they're attacking from. He certainly looks like being a quality signing. Perhaps didn't live up to the expectations in the World Cup with Brazil, although it has to be said that the Brazilian national side as a whole probably didn't perform to their full strength. You'll remember that Robinho picked up a slight injury in that World Cup, which kept him out of one of the group games for the Canarinha, as they're called in Spanish. But he's back. Robinho, he's been training well, and he's in his first game now with Real Madrid for this pre-season. Diego Lopez sprinting out of his area and just shielding the ball enough, making sure it went out for a goal kick, as it was Biondini who chased the ball down. Again, a cool evening here in Austria. Probably about 8,000 or so fans now who've come here to the UPC Arena to watch this match. They had a record attendance back in evening at the ATV Arena, where the local amateur side play, and they had over 3,000 fans to watch the Real Madrid-Fulham friendly. But every day, really, they had 300 or 400 fans who came to watch the team training, as of course it's a great opportunity to see the likes of David Beckham, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Raul, Guti, and the other members of the Real Madrid squad training. It's going to be a set piece now for Reggina on the far side of the pitch. A lot of movement inside the box. Roberto Carlos gets up highest, and it's a great shot in goal. Oh, and Diego Lopez does excellently just to knock the ball over the bar. A thunderous shot there for the Reggina midfielder. Lopez did just enough. Sit here again. It's Carobio who just blasted the ball. Lopez did well to save it. It's a poorly taken corner. Although Real Madrid have to defend again. And indeed it's gone out for a throw-in. David Beckham just touches it back to Cicinho. Every time the English midfielder touches the ball, gets a cheer from around the stadium. Very much the start of the Real Madrid squad. Surely a foul there on Ruben de la Red, which indeed the referee has blown up for. That was the man Carobio who just took that shot moments ago, which tested Diego Lopez. Clearly a foul there as he caught the Castilla player. Again, saying that Emerson's a defensive-minded midfielder who likes to score goals. Ruben de la Red is very similar kind of play. He scored 5 goals for Real Madrid Castilla in the second division last season. He, along with Javi Garcia, formed a really formidable central midfield partnership for Castilla in what was an excellent season for the reserve side. Remember that you get full coverage of Real Madrid Castilla on Real Madrid television. The reserve side play at a very high level, the Spanish second division, and it's an excellent workout for the youngsters, because although it is the reserve side, it's very much a youth team from which the players look to be promoted into the first team, and that's exactly what Ruben de la Red is doing at the moment. And hopefully, for him certainly, he'll be amongst the 24 or 25 man squad that's named to travel to Seattle next Monday. Flashes going off around the stadium as everyone wants to get a touch of the ball and get a photograph of the Real Madrid players. Robinho looks to hook it deep, and it comes to Portillo, who just can't quite get on the end of it. It was a very deep cross there for the Spanish striker, but it's once again back with Real Madrid, although Ruben de la Red just loses control of it in the challenge there with Canassa. It goes out of play. It's another player with the number 11 shirt, and that's Cicinho. Back up, right back now for Real Madrid. He'll be competing with Carlos Diogo and Michel Salgado for a place in the starting lineup at the beginning of the season. Here is Canassa to Modesto, looking to come forward with Leon. Mazzari, the Italian coach for Reggina, still barking instructions to his players. They haven't really had too much possession of the ball at Reggina. They too, like Real Madrid, have made a number of changes to their side in this second half, but both sides have got fresh legs then, but still the Italians have yet to have too much possession, although there was that shot from Carobio just moments ago. Cicinho attacking very far up, really interchanging with David Beckham as the English midfielders had to play at centre-back. Offside for Bianchi, a close call there by the linesman. It's almost level with where we are here in the commentary box. I think Bianchi will be slightly disappointed really with that decision. Or perhaps it was just a whisker offside. You can just see David Beckham now at right back position, Cicinho right midfield. Kind of rotation is something that Fabio Capello's like to work on a lot. You will have remembered that in the first half, Raul and Cassano interchanged wings very much as they look to support Ruud van Nistelrooy, but also really to disorientate the defence, make it very difficult for players to mark. Fabio Capello incredibly animated here on this near touchline. Again, once more of that movement that exactly we were just talking about. It's a long ball there by Ivan Helguera, looking for Portillo, but it's won by Lanzaro, who then puts it into Canassi. Reggina bring the ball out. It's a nice ball forward there, and it's Bianchi who's got on the end of it, but it's Paco Pavon who's doing excellently just to shield the ball. It's still with Bianchi. He's got Amoruso in support, and it's gone out for a Reggina corner, the first of the second half there, second of the match. We're going to see another substitution. Amichevole will be coming on, and once again the captaincy changes for Reggina. So it is Amichevole who comes on. He replaces Tebesco. Roberto Carlos hoops it clear as the ball's won back for Real Madrid after that Reggina corner. But in the end it's a bit too much on it. And it's just in the 68th minute here at the UPC Arena. You're watching Real Madrid-Reggina live on Real Madrid television, the fourth pre-season friendly in Austria. Fabio Capello still deciding on how his Real Madrid side for the 2006-2007 season will shape up. Brilliantly won there by Ruben de la Red, takes a shot on goal. Wasn't bad by the youngster. It's the kind of player Ruben de la Red is. We were saying it just moments ago really. He loves to win the ball, but he's also got a fierce shot on him. He scored 5 goals last season with Real Madrid Castilla. Again there, perhaps not enough direction on the shot, but he did well. And he's back defending again. Now it's David Beckham, just looks to flick it on for Portillo. Comes clear, but Robinho's got it now. And the foul's gone against Portillo. Nothing too much in that there, but still working hard is Javier Portillo. Helguera comes across Not the best of communication there between Roberto Carlos and Helguera. It goes all the way back to Diego Lopez. As Reggina warming up Barilla, Antonio Barilla to come on as well. Again, in these kind of friendlies, there's never any restrictions on the amount of substitutions that you can make, and both coaches have been making full use of that, wanting to give all of their players a run out. Really, these matches are very much fitness-based exercises, certainly at this stage when you think there are still 3 weeks or so to go before the start of the league. Julio Baptista showing his strength there. The Brazilian striker is one of the top scorers in this pre-season, and Bianchi's, well, just some frustration there by Bianchi. He was again given offside. He goes in the referee's book because he took a shot on goal. All the players know that when you do that when you kick the ball after the whistle has gone on purpose, then you're always likely to be given a yellow card, and that's exactly what happened to the Reggina striker, who perhaps hasn't had as many chances on goal as he would have liked. Forward to Robinho. That's Baptista to Robinho. The Brazilians interlinking. Lovely play there by Robinho. It's Julio Baptista. He's through on goal. Looks to put it across for David Beckham on the far post, but in the end it couldn't come to the English midfielder. There's a nice move there though, especially in between Julio Baptista and Robinho. I was mentioning Baptista just a minute ago. Scored 4 goals so far in this pre-season in Austria, including a hat-trick against the local amateur side ATV Erdning, and a penalty that gave the Whites the first win of the pre-season in their first game, and that was against English Championship side Plymouth. A late penalty, excellently converted by the Brazilian. So it was a foul on Portillo, and Reggina have used this stop in the play to make the most of it, and they've brought on Antonio Barilla. He replaces Modesto. So it's even Helguera, the experienced centre-back. In the heart of the midfield, defence I should say. Here comes to Emerson in the midfield. But I think it was a handball from Robinho that the referee's blown up for. So just over a quarter of an hour to go in this final friendly match for Real Madrid in Austria, as the first stage of the pre-season slowly comes to an end. It's been 18 days up here in this landlocked country up in the Alps. Fabulous conditions for the club and for the squad to train in, and certainly with the amount of work that the players have put in, which has of course been overseen by Fabio Capello, with Massimo Neri, the fitness coach, really directing the early sessions, the morning sessions, and in the afternoon players have been looking more at ball control and tactics, working closely with Italo Galbiati, the assistant coach who's worked with Fabio Capello now for a number of years. And it's all of those backroom staff which are so crucial in these pre-season periods. It's another offside for Reggina. And it's put in the back of the net by the Italian striker, and he's not too happy again that he was given offside. But again, 18 days of hard work here in Austria. It's certainly what's going to pay off. A number of the Spanish journalists have been saying that it's the most impressive pre-season from a Real Madrid squad in a number of years that they remember. It's the third time that Real Madrid have trained here in Austria for their pre-season, but obviously we're used to extended world tours at the club. This year though, they've decided for just a week in the United States, as the on-the-field preparations have been given precedence for the coming season. Foul there on David Beckham. That's from the number 15 Barilla, who's just come on, and who indeed made only one substitute appearance last season for Reggina. Perhaps he'll be looking to prove to Walter Mazzari that he deserves a bit more of a run out. Although perhaps by fouling David Beckham, it's not the best way. It's a good position now for Real Madrid. It's David Beckham, just whips it in. So difficult to defend against those kind of crosses, but in the end it's well dealt with by the Reggina defence, and it goes out for a throw-in that Cecchino comes across to take. Of course, the late arrival from the Brazilians, and indeed David Beckham and Ruud van Nistelrooy, perhaps the only real problem for Fabio Capello in this pre-season. The Italian in the very first press conference that he gave when he was unveiled as the new Real Madrid coach, said that all the players who are involved in the World Cup need a minimum, and indeed a maximum, in the end, a total of 25 days rest from the day that they were knocked out of the World Cup, which means that, of course, the Spanish players came back at a later date. The English midfielder Beckham, as well as the Brazilians and Ruud van Nistelrooy came along a little bit later. Of course, we're still waiting for Fabio Cannavaro to join up. He indeed went the whole way at the World Cup and won the tournament on the 9th of July. Ball forward there by Ruben de la Red, back here in Austria. And again, just a very scrappy game here. Heavy challenge there by Emerson on Leon, but nothing too much in it, and the referee's just given a free kick for Reggina. Looking to work the left-hand side. It's with Barilla, and it looks to have gone out. Cecchino tried to clear it, but didn't get there in time. Quarter of an hour to go then here in Graz. We're in the UPC Arena, the home of Sturm Graz. Of course, a team that feature regularly in the Champions League, a tournament that is at the forefront of Fabio Capello's thinking as he's taken over at Real Madrid in this pre-season. Don't forget, it's the second time that Fabio Capello's been in charge at the Bernabeu. Some nice one-touch football just in the middle of the park. Meanwhile, Robinho puts it through for Julio Baptista. Just gets a little bit too much on it, and the goalkeeper Campagnolo can clear up nicely. But you'll remember that 10 years ago Fabio Capello was at the club for one season, and that's all it took to win the league title. Indeed, I mentioned earlier on in this match that 4 seasons ago, under Vicente del Bosque, Real Madrid played here in this stadium against Sturm Graz, and they went on to win the title. So we're hoping that the omens are good for Fabio Capello's squad for next season. Well, this game really has taken its toll on the pitch here in this ground. As I was saying, it was awful conditions throughout the day, indeed throughout the first half of this friendly match between Reggina and Real Madrid. And it really is showing now as it's not just the water, but it's incredibly muddy out there. It's very slippery, and it's very difficult for either side really to get a foot on the ball and really control and look to pass the ball. But that's still what Real Madrid are trying to do. Ruben de la Red just finds Roberto Carlos, who goes for a first-time shot, and it's wide from the Brazilian left back. And it is indeed 10 years since Roberto Carlos has been at the club. He was bought by Fabio Capello. He signed for Real Madrid from Inter Milan, and he's been here ever since, in which of course he's been part of the team that's won the Intercontinental Cup, the European Cup, Spanish League, Super Cup. The Brazilian still wants more. Cut out by Cecchino, and as far as the Reggina midfield, it's back with Carobio, Biondini, Amoruso, Carobio, looking for Leon, and in the end it's Cecchino who just flicks it out for a throw-in now to the Italian side. Still trailing by that RAUL goal just over, well, after the 15-minute mark. Although they've looked somewhat better in this second half, Reggina. A bit more lively, created a few more chances. Indeed, it's come forward out Bienni. And it was excellent defending there by Ivan Helgueri. He had to be brave in that chance, in that instance, and that's exactly what he was. He fell nicely for Biondini. But in the end, the Real Madrid centre-back did just enough to get in the way. Still Reggina on the attack, although it's with Robinho. Surely a foul there on the Brazilian. In fact, it's gone against Robinho. This game, as we're coming into the last 10 minutes, very much being played at a pre-season pace, which is to be expected as we're still a while away from first competitive match for both clubs. It's a free kick now for Reggina. And they get the header on top, just off target, but unless it was an unchallenged header, something that certainly Fabio Capello doesn't look too pleased with down here on the touchline. It was Giosa, the 29-year-old, who got on the end of it. Diego Lopez, the 24-year-old keeper. Very much the understudy to Iker Casillas, but nonetheless a quality keeper. And he said he's willing to stay at the club and he wants to fight for his place in the first team. He feels he can still add a lot he still has a lot to offer for Real Madrid. And of course, when you look at the amount of matches that potentially the club could play next season, you certainly need a quality understudy in case of injury, or, as is fairly unlikely in the case of Iker Casillas, but always a possibility, suspension. Casillas only missed one match last season in the league. You'll remember that he got sent off against Osasuna. And that meant that he had a one-match suspension. The only league appearance for Diego Lopez last season, indeed with the club at all. Although he played with a number of he played with 2 Kings Cup matches before he unfortunately damaged his hamstring and couldn't take part in the rest of the competition. As a Mexican wave goes around the stadium, surefire sign of that the quality of the football on show is somewhat lacking when the fans are more interested in where the wave's getting round. But nonetheless, just under 10 minutes to go now at the UPC Arena, and a number of positives really for Fabio Capello. That's surely offside, and it hasn't been given, and it's Leon now. He's clear away. Roberto Carlos sprinting back, and it is Leon, and it's hit the post. And it came back for Diego Lopez, but goodness me, what a breakaway there for Reggina. Real pace there by Leon, the substitute who came on in the second half. Just see there, cut in nicely from Roberto Carlos. It was a great save from Diego Lopez in the end. Perhaps fortunate with how the ball bounced off the post, but you deserve a bit of fortune with that. Cecchino just getting up for the challenge there, as Barilla was threatening on the far post. And Reggina still looking to get something from this match. They're still trailing by just the 1 goal. So I was saying earlier, they've looked better in the second half. They've had more attempts on goal. They've broken through the Real Madrid defence more than they were able to in the first half. Although with crosses like that, they're not really going to test Diego Lopez too much. As Leon again thumps it into the box, but it beats everyone and goes out for another goal kick for Real Madrid. The flash is still going off in the crowd, speaking to fans who've come to watch Real Madrid training over the last couple of weeks, both in Erding, and fans who've made it to this game here in Graz. They've come from all around Europe, really, from Hungary, from Slovakia, from the Czech Republic, from Germany. As again, it's a very central position in Europe here in Austria. Again, as we're saying, it's really an opportunity for fans to come and watch the team playing, as not too many teams from this area of Europe that make it into the Champions League. Sturm Graz, obviously, as I was saying earlier, quite often there or thereabouts, but still the leagues in Central Europe not really up to the same standard as those in Spain or France or Italy or indeed England. David Beckham now tried to link up with Robinho, who in turn fouls the Reggina number 34. Which means it's going to be a free kick for the Italian side that will be taken by Canassa. 7 minutes to go then here in Austria. 7 minutes before the first stage of the pre-season for Real Madrid finishes. We've covered it here on Real Madrid television. The second stage in the United States will also be covered here. Of course, after those 2 friendlies in the States, don't forget there's also the Ramon de Carranza Trophy, a very traditional and pretty prestigious pre-season tournament that Real Madrid have participated in a number of times. They haven't done so for around about 10 years now, but they'll be there with Betis, with Cadiz, and Inter Milan, although the Italians have yet to confirm. And of course there's also the Santiago Bernabeu trophy that's played just the week before La Liga gets underway. That will be around the 20th of August. Those are all matches that you can get here on Real Madrid television. Although certainly the games in the United States at the somewhat unsociable hour 4 in the morning. It's Robinho now just on the byline, looking to trick and turn his way past Canassa. Finds Roberto Carlos, but they lose it again. Now there's some space down the left wing. That's well cut out there by Emerson. There's Beckham, who's come into the central area of midfield. Sliding challenge there by David Beckham. He missed the ball, but it's well in there by Cicinho. He's got a bit of space. Looks to spread it wide now to Robinho. He does just that. The Real Madrid number 10 puts it in for Portillo. It's Portillo looks to drag it back to Robinho, and in the end it's deflected out for Real Madrid's 4th corner of the second half. Some nice build-up play there by the Whites. They're not so white anymore after the amount of sliding tackles that we've seen. And as always, you can just see in that far corner all the fans coming down to get a closer look in the flesh of David Beckham. I remember a hilarious moment in the match against ATV Erding, where virtually no one in the ground was watching the match, as David Beckham was watching from the bylines and he was signing autographs. Not quite the same interest, let's say, in David Beckham here, but nonetheless, a number of the fans looking to get, if not a closer look at David Beckham, to get on television. David Beckham curls it in, but it's well out there by the Reggina centre-back, only as far as Roberto Carlos, and David Beckham's offside on the far side. So just a few minutes to go then in this pre-season friendly. It's still Real Madrid 1, Reggina 0. Leon is offside once again. The Real Madrid defence, I'm sure you'll have noticed at home, of playing very high up the field, looking for offside. They're looking to really attack from the back, but also to pressure the rivals of defence from the forwards as well, to make sure that the team have very little time on the ball, can't really put too much possession together, and makes it very difficult for the opponents to break down and to get a chance on goal. Ruben de la Red, David Beckham, lovely dip of the shoulder, and again it's still David Beckham. It's a shot on goal from Bex, but it goes straight into the hands of Campagnolo. It's back with Cicinho. Got a bit of time just to pick his spot, looking to find Portillo on the far post. It didn't come to the Spanish centre forward, and that's a foul by Ruben de la Red. Just slid in. Well, the Reggina midfielder's not too happy with the young Spanish midfielder, but really have to say there's nothing too much in it. It's just something that comes about in these kind of conditions. Some of the fans are already starting to make their way for the exits to beat the rush. David Beckham's still on the ball. It's Robinho. He's got Baptista on the side. Baptista brings it back into Beckham. He has the time just to look at all his options before deciding to give it to Emerson. Ruben de la Red asking for the ball. He gets it. He's got Robinho and Portillo up front. Cicinho playing really as an attacking wing-back more than a centre-back. Lovely step over there by Robinho. Didn't quite come off, but it's still possession for Real Madrid. As Cicinho right on the byline, going for the far post. And again, Portillo just looking to latch onto it, but just couldn't get on the end of the cross in the end. David Beckham in defensive duties, playing behind Emerson and Ruben de la Red. Leon coming forward. He's looked the brightest for Reggina in this second half. Giosa. Back to Biondini. He looks to try Diego Lopez from distance. In the end, it's nothing too much from the Reggina central midfielder. He certainly had a better shot about half an hour ago, but again, Diego Lopez has only had to make one save really. That was from Corobio in the 62nd minute. As we're coming into the final minute now of this fourth pre-season friendly then for Real Madrid. It looks set that the Whites are going to win it 1-0. A goal from club captain RAUL, the number 7, scored after 15 minutes. We've seen the first start for Van Nistelrooy. It's Julio Baptista in another attack for Real Madrid. It's Robinho on the edge of the box, brings it back to Ruben de la Red. Well blocked out though, but it's with David Beckham. Real Madrid still attacking. Well, it's come to Reggina, who try and clear it out of the quagmire that's really built up there just on this nearby touchline. But as I said, we've seen the debut of Ruud van Nistelrooy. We've seen the first appearance by the midfielder Emerson since he joined the club, and that is the end. It ends Real Madrid 1, Reggina 0 at the UPC Arena. The first stage of the pre-season comes to an end, but it continues here on Real Madrid television as they travel to the USA. But for now, goodbye.